It happened to be full moon Friday, day after Thanksgiving. So happy Friday tea time. So Michael and I are just coming into this. We just had a back and forth experience of communicating through something. So our energies got a little funny because it was just communication. You know, sometimes the delivery of communication can be not fully aligned. So when it's delivered, it can create a whole different energy field because everything is energy and the energy expands differently. So we're just coming into it and we're going to just move through it. And so I'm a little bit, we just came out of it and not hiding anything, just it is, and we have our tea time. So it's always interesting because you enter tea time, you've been all excited, especially from yesterday, having the Thanksgiving gathering and this energy of Thanksgiving with so many of us in the US, with family and without family, and different parts of the world too, that are choosing to celebrate Thanksgiving, though it's a predominantly a US celebration, but in Canada they're still celebrating, and Hawaii as well, right? And I have a friend who was in France. They're celebrating, which is kind of interesting, and of course England and what have you. So it's quite interesting. And I had made a video on Wednesday regarding the just this Thanksgiving being really more like an ascension test. How we're going to go through it, because we'll be thrown in this space of predominantly our families, our earth families, and sometimes we have really loving. Hi, Demetrius. We're excited to hear how your experience was too. And coming in this place of families, sometimes we often very little hear about very loving family. Mostly we hear more of dysfunctional families or divorced families and blended families and all kinds of family issues. And here we have the beginning of holiday season, starting with Thanksgiving all the way through Christmas and New Year's. And so there are a lot of, obviously, often there's a lot of triggers around. And the big task was yesterday, part of our ascension journey. How did we go through it? And it happened to be on this quadruple gateway of 11, 11, 11, 11. So again, the year of 11, the month of 11, and then we have 22, which is two 11s put together. So it's like a big quadrant of these like four gateways, and these four gateways merging together in this oneness. And how do we actually ride through them? And it happened to be in the energy of full moon. So I feel like we were blasted quite a bit with, I forget, is it Mercury is also in retrograde too. And to see how we went through it is really the key. And that was the video that I put on Wednesday. Let's sit together. We're all going to go together with this. And let's share it today over our tea. And this energy also of Black Friday, that's so heavily about consumerism and biasm and capitalism, and all of those. There's a lot of isms in there, and being able to bring a lot of light to it, and choosing differently, choosing not to give our energy to that in which wants us to spend more so we can feel better and what have you. So just having a little bit of these conversations, and really this Magdalene and Yeshua codes are living codes. How are they truly applied? So where do you want to start, Michael?
I think one of the most beautiful things is really recognizing within our family that these holidays do give us a chance to really look at ourselves and how we react with our family members. How when people that we know that they are our closest beings in life, and really when we look and any triggers, they're just the conditioned beliefs that have been passed on through them to us. So anytime that we are being triggered, it's something that's being brought up to heal. It's being something that's being brought to our attention to allow us to look at. And it's, I always find that, and anytime we get upset, that when families or any energies are coming up, that they are looking to be healed. And it's really our biggest test, as a great quote from Ram Dass that I always remember my dad telling me. It's like, you want spiritual enlightenment, go hang out with your family for the next 2 or 3 days, because they really bring on all of the areas that we may not see within ourselves. And I really felt yesterday we did an amazing job.
I thought it was wonderful. We really passed tests yesterday.
Like, we had family come in, you had your son's help, and it was a bit, busy and, somewhat not chaotic, but, as teenagers, they have so many things they're doing on their phones, and to just really have all of the fixings made and really have a dinner that I really felt there wasn't one bump. Everything went very smoothly, and it was just what I thought it was really nourishing, because, in my heart, family is just, to me, it's just such a blessing to really have people around you that we can bring into our homes, that we can share these moments, because, I give blessings and a lot of love to those that may not have families and not have that connection, or may just have relationships not as close, and just always understanding family is what we chose to incarnate. These are individuals that we specifically came in. So as much as we may want to run away from it, or we may not want to acknowledge it, they are the individuals that help teach us. And yesterday it was powerful to see the flow of how everything went very smoothly. There was no politics or religion spoken at, which can sometimes be very, very challenging. And just to have the ability to be ourselves. That's one thing. Sometimes we can go to our family events, or we can go to places, and we just don't have that ability to really be true. And so for you to see, put all the hearts on the table, the crystal hearts on each plate, to have, the Archangel Metatron, and just have everything fixed up so that when one came in, they could feel the love, they could feel the presence. And I feel that really enabled people to be cared for and to be embraced, because that is really what I find the root of family is it's really to hold us in that, and to come from that caring level. Even though I know there's lots of families out there that are in disarray, there's a lot of families that are hurting. And so we have to constantly give blessings and love, because behind that pain, we know they're hurting too. Yeah. So to really give as much compassion to those that may have not had the parents, because as many times as we can get upset at our closest ones, we have to step back further and say, well, maybe they never had the love. Maybe they were abused. So to look at these holidays, it's obviously only going to get more busy, intense as Hanukkah comes up, Christmas comes up, New Year's comes up. We're all put in situations. And I find, as we were listening the other day, this beautiful video just about disciples is, it's how we handle each moment, each day, what comes up through us of just, organized or just being balanced, because sometimes there's a lot of chaos being thrown out. And as that chaos moves through, how are we dealing with it? How are we dealing with Black Friday today? How are we dealing with, all the things that are moving through, not just the holidays, but what's happening out in the world? So it's very powerful, let alone a full moon on a quadruple gateway. And the holidays now just moving through, obviously in America, but there's lots happening throughout the world. So
well, I felt yesterday, so I had my sons, I have an 18-year-old and 15-year-old. So they came spend the night on Wednesday night. And what we do traditionally is the night before, I'm a vegetarian, so I don't touch the turkey or anything like that. But for, years I prepared the family dinner, and I love Thanksgiving, and I really enjoy the energy of Thanksgiving, just the family coming together, even chaotic. I just love being able to host and set the tone, set the vibrations, set the dinner table and all of that. And I just enjoy it so much, that part of truly giving. Hello, Doreen. Thank you for joining us. So to have my sons come, we went to my mom's and we prepared with the family recipe. I had my sons the last few years. Now that they're older, I've been showing them how to prepare the turkey. So I don't eat it, and and it's kind of been always interesting for going from vegan to being a vegetarian, and it's been a number of years. I don't touch any meat, though I don't ban my children from eating it or anything like that. There's been also, when I was vegan, I was a lot more tough, but I also had to evolve out of that, just accepting people where they are and not at all force my opinion on them or anything like that. Okay, so they want to eat turkey, they do. I wish for a total vegetarian Thanksgiving, and I wish to have a cauliflower turkey. And but they're just, my older son is ready for that. My younger son is still not. And I said, okay, so we still do. So I had them prepare it, and it was so beautiful for Michael to be there and just watch how they embrace the family recipe, put it together, and we had gotten a foldable table. We placed a table with the chairs here, so our space is multi-use, and we had a chance to spend the night, be together. So I feel like there was a lot of love accumulated as the four of us sat in the room, watched the TV series from Netflix, Merlin, and just embrace that together. And in the morning, have breakfast together. Then my sons, having them take part directly, making a lot of things from scratch, from the mashed potato to the cranberry sauce to their sweet potato, and a bunch of the stuffings and all of that, and the fresh cake. And it's so beautiful because I really want these family recipes to pass on, and to have this gathering, because it's kind of new for Michael and I. Though last year we were at my brother's house, we set up everything. This year, because Michael's father's transition, now his mom got to be with us, and we had my mom and Papa Ted come over and be with us, and my sons, because my sons will be having their new Thanksgiving in the new house. So I felt like it was very important to infuse a lot of love into it. That's why setting the table, putting all the crystals, and the way that feels right to me, so the energy is really nourished. And I felt, and I really asked, that was the thing, I really asked my mom at TED not to talk about politics, because they love to talk about politics, and we have a lot of just opposing ideas. And I really asked, I said, can it really stay on positive, just really gratitude of the beautiful things that are happening in our lives, so our energy doesn't go, our energy stays here, just us. And that's exactly what took place. I didn't know how it would be. The prayer yesterday morning was beautiful, and I just felt we were around a lot of beautiful energy. And I feel the energies from the 1111 Stargate had sort of like lingered on, and I felt like I was in a bubble together with all of us, in this bubble of beautiful protection of love. And interesting love, every year this time I get to see all my cousins, uncles, and everybody every year this time. First time, none of that, which is so interesting. Or usually we go, but we were tired, but what I felt was so beautiful is the way Michael's mom and my children really bonded. They really, this beautiful share energy of the elder family member has come in, and my kids really respond, and my sons really taking in the wisdom and all the laughter we shared. So, and I'm feeling Michael's father's energy presence. It was just so beautiful.
What I really appreciated is I find for all of us, when that foundation can be set in really joy, love, and happiness, because many of us, anywhere we go, there's a lot looking out to see, well, how is this going to be? I think there was a lot of people, my mom included, your children included, your mother and Ted, just to see, well, what's this experience going to be like? And it was
not at all. They were excited.
They were excited.
Yeah.
But I feel like anytime there's a new experience, the gift of it is when we can hold that into a very high, joyous, exciting, beautiful level, because we were so happy about how can we set this up. And if anyone, when we all go into holiday modes, when we embrace that, we really embrace that happiness.
Yeah.
That
Really
I find sets as a role model for all those around. And what I really appreciate about yesterday was with your children, and I find for all teenagers and young ones, they always look up to us to see how are we going to portray or display these moments. And when we as adults, conscious individuals, can constantly just show what makes us feel happy, what brings us joy, it's like this wave of energy that just immediately spreads and allows that to be fully felt within. And yesterday, I just felt there were just so many joyous moments from the beginning, from the stories, that it automatically just rushes through you, so that you just feel completely a part. And in the end, I feel that's the gift of holidays, is to feel connected, to feel like we can, no matter where we come from. I mean, it's great to sit at the table, and we have Jewish, we have Persian, we have Kurdish, Christian,
everything
Ukraine,
at the table.
We have all these mixtures of beings, and here we could talk about, you name it, everything in between, about histories. Again, it's not really talking about deep levels of religion or politics, but just listening and honoring each other.
Sharing wisdom from the Native Americans and what have you. And I feel like at the end of it, when we come to it, there's a space with family we share. When we really come from our heart, it's felt. It's really felt. Though there is also challenge within a lot of the families. I really recognize that. And sometimes it is difficult with my family, the amount of politics that wants to be targeted, especially because we're so outsider and we want nothing to do with that.
Yesterday I thought was one of the best things, because I feel there's something within my family that I see a lot, and I also see it within yours. I see that is, and I didn't mean to cut you off, because that's exactly what I want to speak about, was there's so much excitement and there's so much energy that a lot of times we're talking over each other. So that was my example. Not to cut you off and talk over you, but just real quickly, is to say how interesting was that when people were talking yesterday, there wasn't that. Did you notice there wasn't that? Like someone trying to, go over, because it's even a good test. Here's a good test for all of us. How can we listen? And this is an example for me this morning, because I was speaking, but I wasn't fully listening from my heart, and I wasn't giving the opportunity to listen to my heart, because there was a point I wanted to make, but it wasn't coming from my heart; it was coming from my mind. How can we engage? And I'd say this to myself: how can I engage in listening without the brain wanting to think what it wants to say next, but clearly hear the individual to the period, without finishing a statement, without interrupting them, and without thinking, how am I going to react, other than just listening to the person?
That was such a great point, Michael, yesterday, because one of the things was, I was so respectful when Papa Ted gave the blessings at the table. Then we ate, we engaged in conversation. We were able to finish conversations. Everybody had their word. And it was so peaceful. It was so gentle and loving. It was so joyful. And talking about even my mom wanting to set up Michael's mom already on date side, all of this, like, it was so beautiful. Like, just really the love and the joy and the innocence. And even with me, as the kids ate, they were so tired sitting in the room, and me and the boys watching. I brought the baby album so we can see a lot of the baby pictures. It was so precious, like just a beautiful contained space. So I feel like as holidays coming up, if you happen to be the host, maybe perhaps you can really set the tone first. Go into the prayer, see the vision that you wish to really create with it. Visualize the harmony, the peace, the love. Bring some of these elements that can help support that, from maybe angels, maybe stones, maybe incense and candles and flowers, and really set the beautiful energy, so when people come, they're touched by that beauty, that energy, just the ambience carries the vibration, and your gentle actions and all of that. And I feel maybe I don't know, but maybe it would have an opportunity for it to be shifted. And I feel like how if you feel you're pushed to do it, maybe it won't be a very beautiful celebration. Obviously, nobody likes that. For us, I love hosting this because it's such a passion on my heart, and I just enjoy all of it. Everything being made from beginning scratch is really a labor of love, and maybe perhaps open the space up somebody that feels that much passion and loves to host it from that place. Maybe that's a more appropriate place to host it, because there's a lot more love that is flowing in that space. So I wanted to check in. How were you? How was it for you yesterday? Were you alone? Were you together with family? And how do you feel the Ascension test was for you? I feel yesterday Michael and I had a little tap on our back, like, wow, we passed the test.
Mm-hmm.
We passed it together, one part ourselves, but together as a family, we passed the test. That was especially with my children, because then my children were getting ready to go to their father's house with the new Thanksgiving over there. It was the first experience for them, so I feel like they took the energy with them. I'm looking forward to hear how that was. So there's such a beauty in that, and I'm very curious just how you did. So Michael, let's see what is being shared here.
Okay, so Doreen, or even though I know Demetrius here in London, we celebrate this in many ways, not just Thanksgiving, but a day of gratitude of what we've been brought into our life. So how did you guys share this moment, or what came up for you just on this day of knowing that there was a lot happening in the universe? So, so Doreen, you said you stayed peaceful. Beautiful. Wonderful. It is a time that when we can, honestly, when we have that ability just to stay grounded, it's so important to not get caught into the spiraling holiday mode, where a lot of times we can really go on the excess mode of frequency. There's a lot of energy moving around, so I really feel that.
But it is an art, isn't it? Because I have one of my family members a couple of years ago when we were there. Like, I had brought my drum, and one of my cousins, like, flat out, she's like, you know what? Your presence makes me so uncomfortable. I don't understand. I love you, but I don't understand you. I would feel so bad every time I'm around you. But I love you, but I just don't know what to do with myself. So we all hung around. I drummed. We chanted a little bit. My cousins got involved, and we all hugging each other, crying and just crying and crying. But there's very flat out, like, I just can't be in your presence. And and sometimes you feel also the compassion, whatever is going on through them, and learning not to personalize it, whatever is happening within that place. And I feel it is truly an art. It is truly an art to, with the energies of the earth family, it's a true gift of mystery and mastery to go through the art of family and not get talked, pulled, pushed, and what have you.
And Doreen, my heart goes out for you. I understand she said it was big for me as I lost my son some years ago. It took a while for me to get back in the celebrations. Yesterday, upon prayer, I was crying a lot because I knew this was my first Thanksgiving without my father being present here on the earth realm. And there were just a lot of tears, a lot of remembrance of what Thanksgivings were, and just that celebration within a family. And it's, and even like in previous years when he wasn't able to eat, when he wasn't able to, go through those experiences, it was really challenging because I felt like I wanted to get through the holidays as quick as possible. I felt like I wanted to just kind of stay separate and really not engage into it, because there is this feeling of not only loss, but there's this feeling of pain. And that pain, it's very easy to avoid that. The one thing that I felt yesterday that was so alleviating, and I feel with this can be also for you is, even though they are on spirit side, they are still with us and they're still celebrating. And I felt like as we were here, my mom was being supported by Honey's family, and as my family is getting smaller and Honey's family is getting larger, which is beautiful with children and just the ability of us, connecting. That we are embracing it all from this dimension and other dimensions. But honestly, the holidays do bring up that sensitivity, and hopefully, as more time goes by, we can embrace just the gratitude that they are always within our heart. And every day that I go into prayer, I just really tell myself, I love you, Dad. You're in my heart. Wherever I go, you're with me. And I just visualize that, and I talk to him, and he talks back. So it's very common for that, and it's very courageous for you just to share that for it, because we were just talking the other day, how painful it can be to lose a child or to lose someone that
very, very, very difficult. And I feel that the other part of it, Doreen, is that there is again the art of mastery. Here you are. It seems like because we're very physically focused in our earth incarnation, and it's like as if it has to be physical materialization of our loved one in order for us to have permission to celebrate. And once the physical presentation is no longer there, it's like denying ourselves of celebration. And I feel that's a kind of an energy of a self-punishing that comes from many lifetimes over. And that's a part that sometimes in our agreement with our loved ones, it's opening this space of like, no, the celebration continues because it's part of the soul that is eternal, that always continues. We're learning how to expand our field of consciousness to accept and to surrender to the being that's eternal. It's not what was taught to us. It's very much like your son is in Paris right now. But are you going to stop celebrating because he's in Paris? And how important it is, or he's in China somewhere, and how important it is to continue to celebrate, to continue to celebrate his soul independent of his physical garment. And I feel that's the key. Like with my grandmother, not a single day that goes, we don't feel her. We cause it because we feel her presence so much. And part of it is because we all talk about her all the time. And there's a joy when we talk. We don't talk about her from a place of sadness. We talk about her from a place of joy, like truly the love. And that energy keeps going. So it always feels like she's constantly around us, because she is. And those of us that can see her, she's constantly around us. And our loved ones really want to be celebrated. They want you to play with them. They want you to talk to them. They want you to embrace them. They want you to celebrate them. And I feel it's very important putting the picture, but not those pictures of sadness, pictures of celebration, putting some flowers around them and just inviting them, hey, or maybe even put a plate. Hey, here's the table for, like your son, or so they feel like they're included, because it only lifts you. And when you are able to lift your vibration from that place of joy, you have easier access in that communication. And maybe it's a lot that I'm sharing, but what I found, I feel this has been something that's really helped our family a lot. And it's something that with Michael, is very encouraged constantly to keep his father's presence so alive. And we talked, like yesterday we had you do okay, excellent, oh good, beautiful. Thank you, Doreen. Thank you for confirming that. And yesterday we had Michael's mom bring an album of Michael when they were children, him and his brother, and of course his dad, and we just getting a talk and just celebrating the life, because I feel that's very, very important. And again, it only allows the inner love to circulate more, vibrate more, expand more, and they get to dance with that frequency in us. And the presence is very much felt viscerally inside. And whether the candle light moves a little bit, or the leaves of the trees move a little bit, or the plants, or we feel the little chills, the truth bumps in the room. We can feel their presence, them, and also the the angels and the ascended masters and stuff like that. So it's just really, really, I feel it's really beautiful. What did
Demetrius
Demetrius
said he was alone. He celebrated it, and
he said here he's very uncomfortable at and unease when politics are so. Oh, I know.
I really agree with you.
Isn't it interesting, Demetrius? Why is it that we get so uncomfortable? Like, I'm like you too. I'm uncomfortable when the politics wants to be addressed. And I don't know about you, Demetrius, or I don't know about you, Michael, but for me, what makes it uncomfortable for me is that I feel is a vibration that doesn't resonate truth to me. It's a vibration that's so dense in its perception of reality, that is so narrow, and it feels very disempowering, and it's frankly missing love because it's coming from a very narrow lens that does not have access to source light. So that's why I feel when that conversation goes, my energy field wants to retract to sort of like it's sort of like my energy field is like sort of like sunlight, like this. And when that comes, it sort of wants to retract because it can't dance, it can't play, it can't vibrate, the energy can't move with that. So that's what makes me feel uncomfortable, because it feels like everything is coming in, especially when we're beaming bright light, and it's not how do I want to say it's open, it's we're in the divine nature, and we don't have to how do I best one, we don't control it, we don't demand it, we don't direct it, we're just in it. And when something like that comes, it pushes to help sort of like suppress it. That's what makes it feel very uncomfortable. And I wish to I prefer putting the energy towards beautiful things, the beautiful things that are happening, rather than focusing on what the problems. I'm aware of where the problems are, but I really prefer if the energy is put on the beautiful things that are happening, we'll definitely create more of it.
And I agree, Demetrius, it does feel deceptive and construct. What I really believe about politics is it's such an illusion, and it does not give the accurate feeling of what is happening on the collective and in mainstream. And sometimes what we see on a larger scale, it can really be brought into just the public opinion of what's happening. When we see what's happening outward, there's a lot of chaos, there's a lot of negativity, and really it's just a lot of minds going back and forth, taking one position to another. So there's a lot of separation going, and when that separation happens, we're grateful because we go through a very simple, peaceful holiday where we don't have alcohol, we don't have wine, but there's times where when people really show their true colors of, okay, I'm going to have a couple glasses of wine, I'm going to stand up, and then all of a sudden it's like, I think you told me like 2 years ago, like families going back and forth of what they believe in, because all of a sudden you put some drinks into your body, and all of a sudden you're just so passionate about something that may mean so little. And with politics, it's just such a low vibration to be brought forward when we can really communicate and express to a larger feeling, especially when really holidays are about the celebration of how we come together as a family and celebrate.
And I feel that's a good point, because like for us in our place, like it's been years and years, like every gathering I have is always non-alcoholic. Not that I judge anybody, that I just don't have that, to each his own. I prefer a very clean vibration. Clean vibration is very important for my heart and for my soul and my spirit. And so we have, for example, we have different teas, we have herbal teas, there's a lot of teas. coconut water, even kombucha, but we choose not to have that, and we choose not to have, even there, even if you have events, teaching, everything is no medicines, no alcohol, no drugs, like none of that, because that's the area that we just prefer. That's a preference we have. We like pure energy. We like pure divine energy of love, and not any of these with it. The other part of it, what's interesting is, from my heart, I feel the divine government. There's a divine director that corresponds with the divine plan, and the divine director and the divine government is of highest light for the highest good of all, not just for planet Earth, but also for not just the solar system, but not just the neighboring solar system, not just for this universe, it's also for the multiverses and parallel verses. So when I look at a government, I'm looking at it from that lens of the infinite. And to me, the lens of the infinite only brings forth the ways of love. And currently in our earth, our governments at some point will be all transformed into the divine government, which are for the highest good of all, which means the animals, which means the oceans, which means the mountaintop, which means the existence of life is celebrated. That also means our star brothers and sisters. So there's no separation of that, you see, and it's totally free from the consciousness of religions, schools of thoughts, or anything that's been humanly made here as a vehicle to control. So it really comes from the energy of light and dark. Is very interesting. When we give our energy to the presence of light, that light is always for the highest good of all. But when we choose to direct our energy towards the dark, without, sometimes we're conscious, sometimes we're unconscious, but that is to just control and manipulate. And it's very much about just our lower minds. So that's where the difference is. So I feel that's why the talk about the governments and like political systems, whether it's in the US and other countries, though they're an important part of change, I prefer visualizing the divine governments. And I know in my heart, based on also what has been shared, all the through this golden age, the positions that will be coming are the positions of many bringers of light and light worker being positioned within the offices, because systems are crumbling. All the systems that have been human made from just the mind is basically going to be crumbling. Everything that is being created and co-created on the foundation of true love, the love of the humanity, the human, the rays of the light, the 7 rays of the light of humanity, which is the colors of divine, all coming forward, it's going to be shifting things. So as a result of it, I pay no attention to some of these, because I choose to feed my energy in that bigger picture. And I know when I give my attention to that larger vision creates those realities here. And also I'm careful about not giving the attention to that. And that's why we choose not to want it here, where the direction can be given more like on gratitude. I love, like, for example, I love that you brought these potatoes that we got to make here, and how wonderful you made this, like just the present moment, in this here. So
it's more, and when you just look at it from a simple standpoint, it's more positive when we can bring truth into what we're speaking. And a lot of times, how many times when we're talking about politics or government, does it have a positive energy to it? So in that positive energy we can bring to sacred moments, sacred holidays, then it allows us to really feed that energy and allow that to keep growing and building. And one thing that I find yesterday, even though it is classically an American holiday, and I feel like it's a lot of attention based on what the story has been, one of the pieces that I feel that for all of us to look at is one of the most beautiful powers we can go within our heart is really gratitude and the blessing that we can take from this, because as one country or one continent or one area of the world is celebrating, underneath it all, when we just look at the word thanks, it does give the opportunity to look at the blessings of gratitude even deeper. Which I really love is, how thankful can we be for ourselves? How much can we appreciate who we are, and how many times literally we can ask ourselves, are we grateful for what we are throughout the day? I'm thankful for these eyes to see. I'm thankful for these feet to walk. But really to see that one of the biggest components of energy of what we're moving this ascension is self-love, and how we value and how we respect. And the more that we can appreciate ourselves, the more we can thank who we are and not be so critical.
The big self, right? Because I feel is that this gift of Thanksgiving. Michael, for years I have to tell you, like when we would have Thanksgiving before, because I was my children's father is part Cherokee Native American, and my children are multi-mixed. So I really wanted them to embrace all their cultures, all the different nationalities that they come from. So of course, the Native Americans are very passionate to me, and the Thanksgiving at we would have these Native American statues, and I think you saw them last year, and like the pilgrimage and all that at the table, and there was always this part of me before with my children that I would actually get upset because of the injustice that had also been done to Native Americans, and part of it was also it was this sort of like the same energy when I was a hardcore militant vegan, because I was so much about protecting Earth, but I was so angry. I was the angry vegan, and that had to shift because this was also the same thing. For a number of years, I would so enjoy cooking, presenting this, but I would really get caught in the anger and the injustice that was done to the Native Americans, and I would get into it at the table. And here I am. I'm not even Native American, but my children are. But I would be so crazy passionate about it. And then everybody's like, calm down. And I saw how my behavior, that's not also the celebration of love. So that I really had to grow out of that and to choose to embrace this moment of gratefulness and the simplicity. Like my grandmother would say, look, you have these fingers, you can make food. You're able to smell right now, like just truly the state of gratitude, and which was so beautiful, just being in the present moment of it, right? And I feel also with regards to like today, which is Black Friday, with my children, bringing the awareness, what is really under, because they're teenagers, they want to go wait in the line, do what it is, and they've done it. But when we talk about really not telling them what to do, but really bring the awareness, what's really underneath it, and is this an energy? Your energy is so sacred. Do you wish to support such, for example, consumerism that's built on the foundation of this? And so it was quite interesting to go through that and just be able to, I've shifted so much, so many years out of that, and be able to stay just in the moment, in the simplicity, and also in this being, the higher self of this garment, in awe and gratitude of it. And I feel what was so beautiful when you and I posted on Facebook, like just the love, like the amount of love that was shared. Michael, you made a post about it. I wrote a post, and the amount of love that was shared. Like I always value people like Demetrius, like you, Doreen, and other ones that so freely, they're living their truth. They're just exuding love, and they're sharing their love. And there are people, individuals who are constantly judging others and want to, command others, and but they're they're not even of service themselves, but it's always very comical. But yesterday, the amount of love, like all these messages that have been back and forth, and truly like an opening, like an ocean wave of continuous flow of love that was shared. I feel that's the key in these moments, because it comes from here, and it began like as we do every morning, mind sitting there going into deep prayers, meditation, and really engulfing this space before the family come, and engulfing myself in that place of gratitude. Wow, I get to be a vessel of creating food today for the family, so these guests come and we can all share together.
And you said it great. I love how you expressed with the oceans and the love opening up, because really, I feel that gratitude is one of the biggest pieces we can open our heart.
Mm-hmm.
And once we open our heart, we can send so many blessings outwardly,
Yeah.
just in that sense of gratitude, because we are in a world where, even from this morning, my sense of mental body taking over, where a lot of times there's this judgment or outwardly criticism or perception or things like the mental body can get very, very confused. And I know
Or
myself,
they wants to just constantly understand, but is refusing to want to just
listen.
feel, just listen and feel.
And that mental body in all of us, even in this world of competition, in this world of success, in this world of material, there is a lot of pressure. And there's a lot of how much we place on ourselves, how high the bar we place. A lot of programs and conditions and belief all through this world, we're constantly trying to do better. Make it to the next achievement. We had a great conversation with HoniB MichaelA, just really talking about what it is to shine our light. And what I appreciate is within gratitude, it really helps soften. It really helps bring in that peace, because when we are grateful, when we honor ourselves, we're not being so hard. We're not being we're not putting so much on our backs, which unconsciously a lot of us have already done because of our ancestors and how much we want to just try and move forward to get ahead. And really, when we just are thankful for the simplicity, thankful for really, when you look at it, the roof over my head, the food that I have in my hands, the love that's in front of me, the simple
and that's
things.
the real quality of this sacred feminine, right? It's the feminine, that divine feminine energy that has the gift of feel like Mother Earth, that unconditional. Every day she's providing us so many abundant gifts in all ways, and in our morning prayer, we always thank Mother Earth as our temporary mother here that we get to walk on. Like every morning in my practice, I thank Mother Earth for her oceans and the sea and the wildlife, like the fog and the rain. Like I just go through all of these, and I'm always in awe of her graciousness. And then of course the cosmic mother, the divine mother of all creation. And I remember, like in my culture, they say the place of a mother is in heaven. That's in translation, but what they're saying is like there's a when we open up to that energy of mother, whether we're in female incarnation or male incarnation, it's insignificant, the gender. It's granted to all of us. It's the nurturing, it's the truly loving quality, and that's the highest quality of divine, that has the capability and capacity to love, because we will never be able to experience love in our mental body, in our thinking. You may think love, but you can never experience directly love until it's brought from the mental plane into the emotional body, into the physical body. Then it becomes a direct experience. And from there, it just, it has no choice, because it just feels so amazing. It just wants to be shared, right? It's a fountain that can't ever be run out of supply. Just like Mother Earth, contrary to what they said, she's going to run out of supplies, she's so abundant. She certainly doesn't need human beings. She's infinite in her gracious divine gift of giving. And we know that love is a flow, is a fountain that is always everlasting giving. You will never run out of it when you are giving from the true divine part of you. But if you're coming from the limited part, right? We're coming from our head, we're coming from ego, we're coming from our, mental body. We though the intention may be there, but it's so limited. And I feel again that goes back to the conversation of politics. It might be passionate, it might be like there's a love, I want to create the change, but then when the love is coming from that narrow lens, right? There's just one tube, and it's so pressured, it doesn't feel good. But when we open it up to the infinite, that means you have to open it up to the feminine part. That's why the breasts are placed here. Did you know that, Michael? Why are breasts not placed here? Tell me, why this creator intelligence place breasts, right? Not at our hips, not at our feet, right? Not here, but not here. Could you imagine two breasts here? It's placed here. Isn't it amazing? It's placed right by the heart, like literally over the heart chakra. And then look at the arms, right? Is it a coincidence that you can hug, grab, right? So what does this represent, right? Like the divine mother of creation that holds, right? No, it's from here. You can't do it from here. It doesn't have access. It will always fail because it can't achieve it. You see what I mean? It can't reach it. But when you place it here, then it just opens up, and first it liberates you, then it liberates others by its vibration. And it's such an intelligence that and that's what the healing, these hands that are used for healing, but even if somebody's hands are cut off, the energy still is here, You're busy reading comments. I can't read anything because I can't see. So you have to tell me what's being shared.
I feel it's also interesting because when you were saying as you place your hands, it's as we're placing our wings on our body to expand.
Yeah.
And as we expand higher, we then even open up higher. And it's very important to notice that, because even when in our own posture, and you see this with me, when we close, we go down. It's interesting how
it can't open up, right?
Come from. So when we open our heart,
because then the energy gets here. Because in order for energy, so when it's coming from crown, sorry to cut you off, Michael, it's coming in, this has to be open. In order for it to be open, and not just stay here, but it has to go all the way through you back to Mother Earth. So you're in this streamline, right? And it can't just stay in the base of your chakra, just like many systems teach it. They're totally missing it because they're denying the connection to deep into the heart of Mother Earth. The heart of the Mother Earth is the whole key in this. And when we ground the energy as it's coming in, then we're expanding out. So then this toroidal field continually spins around us. This morning, by the way, Michael, it was so amazing. When I was doing one of the breaths, I was using the Trinity breath, the threefold flame. And it was so beautiful watching this threefold flame coming from the heart of Mother Earth into my heart, in all the way coming, like it's coming from Mother Earth, it's coming from the divine creator, coming down, and it's meeting in the center of my heart, and then it's going back out, and I could see like right in my outer 6 feet field, so it's about like 6 feet, so 12 feet total, and coming down this triple flame, and it's like, wow, this is such a dazzling bubble of triple flame love. Like, wow, it's amazing. And just to feel the awe and the joy, and truly like wow, the beholder, really beholds us in love. And it's a love that we can't even articulate, we can't fully capture. But once we have like a touch of the experience of it, it makes us feel giddy, like a little kid. We can't even like describe it, fully put into words, because we lack the vocabulary in capturing the omnipresence of its experience. But it becomes a visceral experience in all of our bodies.
And I love what you said, how it came up and how it expanded you and spread you.
Yeah.
Because there was a comment about the chakras, how sometimes when our body is not at its fullest, I would just say expansive state, where we're not in our full form, then that energy doesn't serve or doesn't allow itself to expand from Mother Earth all the way up. So a lot of times when we look at our heart chakra and it's being closed, where can that energy from our lower chakras come all the way up through our head, all the way outward? So it's fascinating to really see that in our own body and our own emotions and even our own breath. How are we keeping this expansion?
Open.
How are we keeping our chest? How are we keeping our level of, and even comes, what I find interesting is that even in our inhale and exhale of how we're breathing. And if we're inhaling, and how are we expanding? Because again, it's so interesting.
But if you have the judgment, if you have the judgment towards ourselves and others, if you have, for example, resentment towards ourselves and others, if we are not ourselves in service to ourselves or others, it's sitting right heavy on the chest, so the energy just can't expand. It can't go anywhere, at all. Like it gets blocked. You feel, and then you feel crappy, because you're not freely flowing to allow the prism of your own diamond body to be free to radiate divine's light through you. But Dimitri, I really thought of you this morning because I know you know how to work with the triple flame, and how beautiful, like when I feel like every morning the different rays first, I experience it inside my heart and really feel the flame and feel the heat of it and feel the vibration of it in my heart before I start sort of like the invocation of the other flames coming in, and how incredible that really, really feels. And I asked you, Dimitri, see if you want to play with that, bring it around and then add the other 4 flames, see how it feels, and let Michael and I know, because it just feels so joyful, just so beautiful and joyful. And maybe that will be maybe that will be a little bit easier handling conversations with family that wish to talk about politics. We can just divert the energy there.
And then Demetrius, you can also join me, or I will see you on live stream as you share that beautiful wisdom, because we know there's so much that you're sharing with us that we're excited to see you live. We're excited to hear your wisdom and to really expand outwardly and all that you have within, because I just want to honor you and just all that you're expressing and how on point it is, and how there's so much here within ready to come out. And I find sometimes when even we go back to our posture areas where it wants to come out, it wants to expand, the only way it can come out is coming out through our expression, through our third. And I find this is it's interesting when we look at fifth dimension, heart-centered consciousness. Look at our chakras that we're all being forced to be expressed to come out right here, and in that, as it's coming out, it also gives the chance to open and free this, because what I really see a lot of times is there's so much that's sitting right here,
and part of it is sitting there, Michael. Because the fire here, this fire here is often very dim, or it's so expanded that it just goes in an attack. I feel what's so important, like Michael and I, so for those of you that are watching, maybe this would be helpful for you. I feel one of the things that might help you, like we love working with the etheric dragons, and I just love the dragon energy. One of the help, like if your personal guardian dragon that can really, really help you, is with maintaining the proper vibration of your fire. So your fire is utilized for, again, for the highest good. It's a ray of light, and it's a pure light, and it's maintained in harmony from its place of grace, from a place of gratitude, because that fire then gives rise to the air here, and the air allows our wingspan to free. So let's say the medicine of the ego, or the direction of the east, right? The rising sun. The rising sun is our own sacred resurrection, because the inner sun has arisen, and it really comes from its fire and comes up, and it lifts us, because it lifts our arms up so that we can be free. Like we're not held by the bondages of life. We are sovereign souls, totally eternal, totally free, in our garment, temporary, but truly from our higher bodies, a free being, and here to just emanate light and do good. That's it. Be good. So then it becomes the vocabulary here. So be an observer. What are you allowing yourself to be said? Feel every word that comes to you. Is it coming from here, or is it coming from here? Is it shut off from neck down? It just wants to just talk? Or is it being felt by Mother Earth's gracious presence deep inside your root chakra? It's so rooted in love that wants to then create, right, in its vibration. Then it gives it the power, because it's so supported, then gives it the air, and then from here you have the authority by your own divinity to just express from your passion that's passed through the gateway of your heart. You see, your heart is a guardian itself. He's very intelligent, and he's so loving. It will watch these words that are coming out, because it knows it has power. I create as I speak. So as a result of it, it's not going to just say anything. And the higher consciousness chooses its word consciously, because it only allows words of love to come forward. It may notice density, but it will not give its attention to, because it will never give its vibration to that, because it will co-create it. It will give its vibration to this beauty of love, because it knows it will co-create more of it, so it can help transmute or transcend the density back into light.
And what was so beautiful, as very beautiful said, I love how you express that.
Technology.
And the amazingness of really connecting within the dragons as well, just commenting on a view of like with the crystals that we've been told, that as well when looking at the solar plexus, heart chakra, third eye, that placing especially blue crystals can help expand, can help vibrate, can really move the chakras. If there's any density, if there's any stagnation, it's amazing and powerful to bring forth what we've been told about the blue crystals when we look at.
So El Moria, who is the ascended masters for the first ray of light from the Kohan rays of light, he had taught us that to really to assist our chakras is using the solar plexus, the heart, the throat, right, the third eye, and the crown upper, but not the lower two. Just bear with me. The sapphire, lapis, sodalite, kyanite, there's so many different blue, but not turquoise. You can put it around and to help lift the vibration of transmutation flame within your chakra, so that way it can come to its proper state of balance. The Arcturians, I've given several workshops on this, the Arcturian technologies of the chakras. So Arcturians eons ago had taught the rishis of India how to use this technology, and then it went into other ways, and it's not really talked about how the star beings blue beings had taught this technology. But so that's the one that I've taught about. Like you can use the etheric crystals and also, help shift the vibration of your 12 chakras in its full presence, in its proper alignment, proper vibration, basically. So again, it's in a balanced state, because everything in the universe loves to vibrate from a place of balance. When it is in balance, there is a flow, and when there is a flow, there's non-resistance. So there's only a respect from that place which is effortless, which is in ease and peace and harmony, and so their love freely flows through it.
And even with the etheric field, we can place the crystals around us just by placing a guided meditation when you're lying there. And say, if you don't have the blue crystals, you can also visualize those blue crystals over each chakra. Visualize the blue crystals.
The etheric crystal. Ask them to help you with the etheric crystals to put around you, because it will help.
Right. And as you place them around, that can really help the energy. As Mariah spoke, he really spoke about bringing the blue flame right within our solar plexus. As that blue flame is visualized, as it brings in this burning away of all of the energies that we can hold here, because within our solar plexus, it's very interesting to see what we hold in that non-expression. It's like this trapment right here, and all of a sudden, what happens is, from all of our emotions, Dantian, solar plexus, Hara, we've been taught that, like, we even feel that in this area it gets congested. So just from our navel to our diaphragm here, bringing forth that blue flame to allow that expansion, allow that opening, and most important, allow that direct connection coming from the first chakra all the way up through our body. And it's just powerful how
the blue flame, I feel one of the things that people don't know, the blue flame, etherically, when you look at it, it has the highest level. Just even on Earth, the blue flame has the highest level of heat in it, because it has the longest wavelength. And the blue flame really transmutes and transcends. And this is why El Moria is really about the first ray, that first ray of light inside the heart, which helps us to move into the will of divine instead of the human will, which is very, very weak. But the divine will gives that supportive energy. And when we had come back from Morocco, the masters were helping me with all the systems that needed to get upgraded. But the blue flame, at some point for days in a row, I saw all of my chakras completely engulfed in a blue flame, because it had to transmute so much of the density that it had sort of encountered and endured. And it was part of the system reboosting, if you want to call it that. And the blue flame is so sacred. And the dragons in the dragon realm, one of the healings that I shared with you, that I spoke on my video that I made, they did a powerful, when they radiated their blue fire towards me, it was just the blue flame of completely diminishing, transmuting, transfiguring those impurities. And it was incredible how quickly those within the higher bodies were able to be dismantled. So then it was able to dismantle from then my emotional body, then finally the physical body that helped release this. And then those new voices started being able to come forward.
So it's amazing to see there's lots that we can work on. And I know we went from the tangent to gratitude and then to all of our chakras and then our body, but it's the gift that we have all these tools and mechanisms around us that we can not only place on physically, but we can place etherically, and really the power of visualization, what we can really help cleanse, because even we know that these 7 chakras are just the beginning to then the 12 chakras and further chakras upward that allows
the 7 chakras have been the predominantly one that most humans have known about, because at the time of Atlantis, which I know Demetrius, and some of the other ones know, when Atlantis sank, one of the things that happened, it had to be dismantled. We were fully operating from our 12 chakras then, but then being able to, and also our 12 strands of DNA. I don't know if you know this, Michael, but what happened was when the continent of Atlantis sank, when the decision maker was made, we had to, those who were being reincarnated back, we were sort of like there was a program placed forth so that our DNA would be reduced to what it can sort of operate in the following incarnations, as well as our chakras. So we were only left with the 7. But then it wasn't just 12, some were operating already from the 24. So, and some of us reincarnated back with the higher strands just so that we can go through the transfiguration and the next level coming in. So the first 7 have been used predominantly, having our third dimensional reality on Earth. And those of us who've moved into the fourth dimension and even fifth, the next 7 have been activated in us. And now we're working on the following range of the other 7. So we're operating from the 21. But the 22 one is a very powerful one because that's the one that's deep beneath us in Earth. And that's a really significant one in order for us to open it up, and it's usually underneath the left foot, and it's about 3 feet or sometimes 6 feet below, because that's a huge one in order for us to activate the other 420, the other set of the 14, so we can expand in living from our fifth dimensional consciousness and body in our physical form without the full ascension into light, but the ascended state in our human form, which be the carriers of pure flame, pure love. It just has to be our purity. But in order to get there, there's a lot of transmutation of the lower density of the minds, lower density of within our water element, lower density with our earth element, lower density within our fire element, and the air. All of that has to purify. That's where we're constantly going through the purification. And this is why also the blue flame is so important part of our transcendence and transfiguration of purification, so that in which we already are has the capability to walk on earth freely, if from that state of beingness. Again, nothing has to be created because all has already been created, and it is already a magnificent perfection, and we're only experiencing the imperfection because we're in separation of it. However, we're all together coming to that place, and that's why it's so beautiful. We get to share, we get to embrace, we get to bring each of our parts to it, and especially those of us who are choosing to not because we read, not because somebody's saying it, but we're really actively participating and living from our practiced state.
And what I love about the blue flame, transmuting blue flame within the solar plexus, that is just, when we really look at how much we hold our emotions within this area, when we look at our life and we look at our state of peace and balance, it's really when our emotional body is at a state of harmony.
Yeah.
And it's really a check-in within ourselves to say, one of the gifts that we are given that no other spirit has is to feel the emotion. Our emotional vibrators are really showing us where we're at on our ascension, because anytime that our emotions are being pulled, being pushed, it really dictates to us, where exactly are we in my state of balance? How much am I able to move throughout the day because I'm being pulled, I'm getting angry, I'm getting sick? It's beautiful to know that we have that full expression of emotions, but at the same time is in that freedom to say, well, am I being, is my sensitivity where my emotions are going all over the place? We have to really look within to saying, how strong is my emotional body? Because every time an emotion is coming up, it really is that opportunity for healing from some past wound, from some past program or belief. And so I love how again, that visualization of the blue flame can really help clear and cleanse, because we are in a state where there's so much stimulus, there's so much activity, there's so much technology, there's so many things happening in this chaos here that we really have to look at our emotional body and say, how strong is that?
It's interesting you say that.
Hold that?
Can you hold the vibration?
We'll hold the vibration, because really, with some of the biggest masters, and this is what I really look at within myself, is, how can something come in front of you and still stay in that non-reactive state of saying, okay, no matter how much I'm triggered, no matter how upset I am, no matter how much it's upsetting me, how can I stay in that state of peace? Because it really takes the true master, the true individual, to stay and say, okay, I hear you, I see you, but I'm not going to allow myself to react in a way where it's going to pull my energy and work in a way where all of a sudden I'm allowing myself to be pulled into a direction that doesn't really focus on that constant trueness of who I am. Because really it's that ability just to stand tall, and whatever comes through you, to stand tall in that love, in that light, because that's right. What we are.
And isn't it interesting? A true master is a master that has mastered his or her own problems. So, it's just hysterical. So we are all given this incredible opportunity to bring forth our mastery, and we can only share what worked for us. We can't tell anybody what you're supposed to do, because a master will never tell anybody what to do, ever, will never suggest that, nothing, because it just holds this space like, better. So tap into your own, and their guidance along the way. And I feel what's amazing is that, even what we share, we're only sharing from the experience that we've had. Like, I feel Michael and I are, very adamant about sharing only, like here, nothing is planned. We only share from the place that is total resonance in our heart and what's worked. And may it inspire you. May it just, because sometimes when we're in that place, when somebody's sharing their truth, and you can literally feel it, somewhere in you activates the truth that also is within you. And versus when somebody's trying to tell you what to do, if you are a disempowered person that just wants to be told constantly how to do something, then maybe that will be for you. And it is a disempowering state of being, because you are not living from your own divine power. So I feel what's very important is, for us to be in the presence of our own truth, to speak only the words that only rings true in ourselves, because you directly experience yourself, and you're courageously willing to, let's say, for example, like this, come behind a camera and share. Because when you nakedly, your soul is naked before you and you're sharing, there's nothing to hide. And those who are observing, they get to directly feel. And that's the ultimate liberation, because then what also is within you that is seeking you to also set you free. So we're all in it together, as far as I'm concerned. And I feel like once you've mastered one problem, we became the master of that, because it no longer has a hold over us. Then we go to another one, there's another one, there's one, because each of us came in with a set of tests that we have to go through to pass. For us, for example, this collaboration was this Thanksgiving. How are we going to pass through it? And I feel like we did a really good job, and it's okay every now and then to embrace this also human experience. Okay, we did good. On to the next one, and just embrace. Also, not deny the human temporary moment on Earth, because you are here, and it becomes the very important vessel, contrary to many schools of thought, to deny this. Oh, we're just about finished, Michael. It's 1:18. So to just really embrace this as a vessel in which the wisdom and the truth deep within that's been marinated wishes to come forward. So that's all.
Thank you, love.
Okay.
It's beautiful how what I am very grateful for being on this holiday is how when we're here, we're able to share this. And more specifically, I find that just being next to a divine conduit, when just hearing what you're expressing, it's coming directly through you. And it's allowing that to come not only through you, it's coming out in a message that we're here in our gratitude.
But it's for all
share.
of us. But you did that too. Like, it's just when there is no resistance, there's no forces, and there's no resistance in that state where it just easily is brought out, right? So, and we really wish you a beautiful full moon. The energy is so expanded. But this is the other thing. The full moon, again, when you can tap into her sacred feminine energy on, let's say, today's Venus is a Christed energy, the Christ heart, the crystalline heart. And, you can bring a lot more love to it. And I feel for this Black Friday, maybe bring the love into this. So let's offer a prayer, Michael. Yeah? Just, can you hold on 2 minutes?
Sure.
Okay.
Two minutes.
Okay. So, dear primary force of all creation, dear sacred light of illumination, thank you so much for your gracious gift of love upon us today and each day. Thank you for leaving behind that spark of golden light deep inside our heart so we can find our way through the darkness each and every day. Thank you for bestowing us the nectar of life and the sweetness and the melody and the songs of creation when we allow ourselves to be touched by thy grace. Thank you for giving us the power, the true power of your heart, where we can feel, we can reach the stars each time we go so deep inside and embrace the entire cosmos within, to recognize that in which is outside is completely inside, and there's no separation. Thank you for the anointing oil of illumination and wisdom. Thank you for the ray of divine will. Thank you for the ray of cosmic Christ. Thank you for the purification flame. Thank you for the resurrection flame. Thank you for the consecration flame. Thank you for the transmutation flame. Thank you for these rays in us where we can daily dance with these and spin them around us and allow ourselves to be bathed by these dazzling rainbow frequencies, where the pot of gold in which we so desire and have been on the treasure hunt of it on this earth so many incarnations, is discovered within our heart, within our love, within the mother and the father, and this golden child that we are, bridging the heavens onto earth. Thank you so much for this day. May we all be blessed. May we all walk in joy and light, in our innocence, in our purity. Maybe just listen to the inside, and maybe just really embrace the words of kindness and compassion so we can radiate more of it. Thank you so much, all of you, for checking. I'll check more of the comments. Thank you so much for your comments. Thank you for taking the time and being with us. the words are too little for me to read, so Michael has to read it, so I'll read it later.
Happy full moon. This is a beautiful day to write down things and release them in a nice burning flame, as we spoke about all the flames.
Yeah,
it's
that
a great
too.
opportunity tonight just to remind all of you guys just to what you want to release, what you want to let go. Please write that down on a piece of paper if you choose to allow that experience, and just burn that away as we release, let go. And in deepest gratitude, we're just very happy that you could join us once again. Share this Friday tea time, and just
feel free to share this video.
Yeah.
Feel free to share some of your comments if it helped you. Put it on the YouTube comment page. We really appreciate that, and we look forward to joining with you next Friday and seeing where the energies are, because we are from Thanksgiving, from the 11/11 till 12/12. This gateway is a gateway of gratitude, and maybe every day you can really, really hone in the energy of gratefulness. Have a beautiful day. So much love. Aho namaste. Lakesh. Bonura ish. House. Bye-bye.